Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 rated sportsbook app out there. I'm your host, Rudo, joined by AJ Hafley and Blaze Hunter. Before we jump in, we do need to get our DraftKings pick of the week in. Right now, it seems like the best bet in Colorado might be betting on an Avalanche player to get injured every single night. Not a fun bet. We'll get into that in a little bit. AJ, Blaze, you got Kansas City or Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl?
AJ, why don't you settle now?
I don't care, dude. Probably Kansas City.
Oh, yeah, going with the new guard. I think I'm going to go Kansas City by a lot as well.
All right, there's your pick. Kansas City, minus 162 on the money line, minus 117 given 3 points. It's probably a good bet. I wouldn't bet against Patrick Mahomes, that's for sure.
I'm a big fan. We've already got spicy shit going on in the chat, so let's just get on with this.
Yeah, all right.
We've got Gabe Landeskog as a legit bad NHL player happening. So
yeah. I mean,
do your thing here.
Head on over to DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Be sure to check them out. Use code DNVR to let them know who sent you. Other terms, restrictions, and conditions apply. Colorado only. Gambling problem code 1-800-522-4700. Okay, let's jump in. First of all, the Avs get 3 out of 4 points on a back-to-back. On the road, no less. As far as the actual result here, at least AJ and I don't think are worried at all.
Are you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like long term. I'm not worried.
I mean, look, that was a bad game, and we still came away with a point. So that's the positive I can take away from that.
For sure. That's not to say the Avs played well or anything, but
I thought the Avs were. I thought they were okay.
Yeah. I mean, the goaltending was a little shaky back there. There was a lot of just crap going on in front of the net.
Yeah, I mean, there's a different universe of this game where it's 4-0 Avs in the first period and they cruise to a victory, but they missed a couple of finishing opportunities. Obviously didn't work out great. We'll continue breaking it down, but let's just get to Nathan MacKinnon. I mean, we're not going to have anything to say on it because we don't know what happens. I've went back through. I looked at his last shift. There's nothing noticeable. He's skating just fine. And then he just doesn't show up in the third period. I hope Evan hops on this show in 20 minutes and has something to tell us, but I know better.
Nope. It already happened.
Yeah.
It was already, I haven't talked to the trainer.
I mean, we all knew that was coming, but
yeah.
Not breaking down into how long MacKinnon might be gone or anything like that. How survivable is the immediate future for the Avs without MacKinnon? Let's just start there.
Realistically, like, let's be honest, you can get by. You can. It's a good enough team that they can still be competitive here. You know, I mean, look at the team that they're playing the next 2 games.
Yep.
They're playing a team that doesn't have a legit top 6 caliber center. And they are 6-4 on the season now. So if you're a good defensive team, you get decent goaltending, and you have a couple of electric players on the wing, you can survive. The Avs can survive, especially in the division that they're in. They get their upcoming schedule. They have 2 against Minnesota, and then I think they open their season series against Arizona after that.
Yeah, I mean,
they have 2 against St. Louis and then Arizona. So the St. Louis games, if MacKinnon's out for those, that's a concern. But like, you can be competitive. It really just kind of depends how serious it is. If he misses 2 months, you're in real trouble. Like, you're in real trouble. If he's going to miss 2 weeks, you just hang on tight for 2 weeks and just hope for the best.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a short stint, right, that second line is buzzing right now. Saad looks awesome. He's hot. So, I mean, hopefully...
For the record, I think that's probably why Comfer started the period next to Landeskog and Rantanen, is because that second line has been going so strong that it's like, don't mess with this. Now we really need this to work. So throw Comfer between these guys and let's just see what the hell happens. And then eventually it did switch. But that second line going is really important now. It's really important.
Very important. I mean, that secondary scoring is huge. What did you guys think of Jost tonight?
He was Tyson Jost. People ask us about Jost every single night, and the answer every single night is he's still Tyson Jost, where he'll do some really good things, but the production just never comes.
Guess what? The process was good. The underlying results are good. All of that is fine. He broke even. He was a little bit on the positive side on a night where some Avs struggled to be, but he's a bottom six. He's a bottom 6 guy at this point. Like, and at this point, you can't even make the argument that he's more than just a 4th liner.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he played defensively well. I thought there was a chance there to score. But, I mean, you know, it looked like the puck jumped over his stick, and then they went the other way and almost scored on the other side of the ice as well. You know, we had a 3-on-2.
I mean, not being able to convert is the story of the night for the Avs in a lot of ways, but it's – I mean – this is a tough situation. From the hop of the game, we find out 10 minutes before puck drop, it's not Patterson that it's in. They're not moving anyone to LTIR. They're just going to run 11 forwards and 6D with Jacob McDonald in the lineup. Once MacKinnon goes out, they spend the whole third period with 10 forwards. I mean, to be clear, I understand why they did it that way. They're trying to manage their cap as much as they physically can, but it's still tough. You're asking 10 forwards to go out there at their 6th period of hockey in 24 hours. I don't envy them. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, short bench, 2 nights in a row. That's not fun at all.
Yeah, I'm curious. What happened with the salary cap today. Even understanding the system that I do, I don't totally know we don't really know what moves are actually getting made until well after they've been made.
Yep.
Because the taxi squad literally changes every single day, and we get no announcements of it until 5 hours after they happen. So I honestly don't even really know what happened with the cap today and how they ended up non-compliant. I know that putting some guys on some IR would have helped, but you put a guy on IR, you're committing to that guy not being in your lineup for at least a week. If they weren't comfortable doing that, they have to think that these are short-term injuries and that they were like, it's the second night of a back-to-back. Let's just YOLO mode this and just try and get through today. If Johnson and Taves and these guys end up missing 5 games, then what happened today was absolutely idiotic.
Yeah, right.
And gross incompetence from the front office.
My assumption, and to be clear, this is an assumption and not news, but Taves is going to be waiting for them back in Colorado. If he's going to miss 14 days, there's no reason not to put him on IR. I expect to see Taves soon, based on the decisions they made tonight. Maybe it ends up being EJ, but under the assumption that he has a concussion, that's never something you can really plan a timeline around.
Yeah.
So it's just a weird spot right now.
Not having an answer. Officially, I think the only guys that have been put on IR at the moment are Calvert and Franzos. So I have no idea what's going on elsewhere.
And part of us not having any idea is we have no idea what the injury status is of anyone on the Colorado Avalanche.
Yeah.
And we have, in some cases, we know it's a lower body. You can see with Taves, obviously he got hit in the foot with a puck, so we understand what's going on. But as far as what injuries are, guys are just day-to-day on this team until they aren't anymore. So it's just total darkness on that front when it comes to the Avalanche in this season so far. We can talk about some more positive stuff in a little bit as well. We also have Evan Rao coming on. But first, we do need to take our first period break with Breckenridge Brewery. Games like this probably make you want to drink, so I highly recommend you go get some. You can find 8 different types on tap down at the DNVR bar, or use the Breck Beer locator online to find yourself some Breckenridge Brew near you. We also have Strava Craft Coffee, the CBD-infused coffee that has really changed lives. Maybe Taves needs some of that. Helps with joint pain, so if you got hit in the ankle or something, I don't know. Help him out a little bit. Give it a try today. It's great stuff. StravaCraftCoffee.com. Use code DNVR20 to get 20% off your purchase. All right. Evan, already ready to go. You can tell it was a pretty short presser tonight. Let's go ahead and bring him on to tell us what we already know, in that Jared Bednar has not talked to the trainer yet.
How'd you guess?
What is there any significant takeaways from the presser tonight, Evan? I mean,
well, the one thing he did say, he got asked about the injuries, and he said he has not heard anything on Taves, so he's taking that as no news is good news, and that they're going to know more tomorrow, and that hopefully he's fine. Belmar is actually feeling better, but he's probably not going to be good to go within this week or so. But Landy and Miska were pissed off. Like, they were very short with their answers and just not happy. I think they all feel like
they were really bad tonight, so they should be.
Well, yeah, but basically what they said is, we're missing people, but we're still good enough. Like, we have enough depth to beat that team. Like, this is not a problem. Like, we should have beat that team.
Well, they'll have a chance in 2 days.
And 4 days.
Yeah.
Because we're just not going to stop seeing this stupid team.
So let's talk about at least a little bit of good news before we dive down the rabbit hole of Gabe Landeskog, because I know the chat wants to do that. We will. Have a look at Blaze's shirt. Go buy one of those. And then say you were repping it before Cale Makar wins the Norris Trophy. Because that dude murdered the Minnesota Wild tonight. It's almost single-handedly.
He mohawked the jock off that guy.
Yeah. Greenway still looking for that jock for sure. Is this... I mean, obviously it's Makar's first goal of the season. Everybody's been saying how due he is for a while, but AJ, you've been following the advanced statistics, and Makar is doing some special stuff right now.
Yeah, I went through 2 years of game-by-game data of the last 2 Norris Trophy winners, just to kind of compare what Makar was doing, and the stretch that he's on right now is more impressive than what those guys have done. The highs, the minutes aren't there. He's not playing as much.
They were there tonight.
The highs haven't quite been there. Like,
sure.
But the shot suppression is has been the biggest surprise. It's the biggest takeaway that I did not realize that he's on the ice and there's just nothing happening against them.
Ryan, you can find a shirt like that one or many other Avalanche shirts over at the DNVRLocker.com. There's that one. There's the 3-headed monster shirt. Plenty of others as well. Makar, I do wonder a little bit if Makar didn't start OT because he played so many minutes tonight. We did see last year in a handful of games, he kind of ran out of gas when he really started getting up into those bigger minutes. But, I mean, it is what it is.
I thought it was a weird call to start Girard, given out of the big three that you would play. He had been the worst tonight. Yeah. I thought that was odd.
I mean, don't have the brass cojones to put Byram out there to start OT, I guess.
I think they cut Byram's minutes the last 10 minutes, it looked like.
I mean, after that second penalty, I think Bednar was pretty dumb.
Bednar was not happy with a lot of the defense tonight. I have a feeling if this team was healthy, Graves would be in the press box again. That's just my feeling. But they can't do. They literally cannot do that right now.
Graves' turnover before the second goal was pretty egregious.
That was men's league stuff. It's like you're trying to make a move on a guy when you're not moving. Like that doesn't work. You can't do that. And the thing is, the forwards were dead. They wanted to get off the ice. All he had to do was just like chip it up to him to tip it in. And I don't know if he's just overthinking it because that's not what he did last year.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier in the season. You know, maybe it has a little bit to do with him struggling to mesh with a new D partner, as he really has not gotten that much time with Cale. But when your partner is Sam Girard and your option is to walk into a check in the neutral zone, come on, the Avs need more than that. It's plain and simple on that front. On the forward side, the same names kind of remain. JT Compher continues to struggle. The Gabe Landeskog conversation, it's a bit of a weird one right now because on any given night, he'll do a lot of solid things, but then he'll go out and do something like take a penalty 200 feet from his own net, and then he was just struggling with the puck tonight.
Yeah, so many turnovers, so many bad decisions. Even like on the power play, that last power play that they had, they get into the zone, puck goes to him, bounces away, they clear it down the ice, and it was just like it was just one of those nights, man, that he just wasn't very good.
He has these nights occasionally. Yeah. It seems like when he has a bad game, it's like really bad. And tonight it was really bad.
Did he have an assist tonight?
It just doesn't happen that often. Like
he did have an assist. Yeah, he made a nice play on the first goal.
Oh,
but, yeah. And he did draw a penalty, but other than that, I don't know what he's doing on that overtime goal.
I had no issue with Kadri out there.
Yeah.
To start overtime. That's your best face-off guy. He should be out there. Like, even if MacKinnon is healthy, do exactly what Carolina did tonight, which is they put Jordan Staal out there. He wins the face-off, and he immediately gets off the ice. Kadri's their best face-off guy. That's exactly what they should be doing. It's your best chance to get possession of the puck in that face-off. It just is. And then the rest of that, though, Landy had been really bad. It should have been Mikko. And then it should have been Makar on the back end. I mean, it just should have been.
I don't disagree, but I mean,
I don't think that's why they lost.
Yeah, it doesn't. Kadri loses the face-off. The Avs never touch the puck, and Miska gets beat 5-hole. Like,
yeah, I don't think. Yeah, he gets beat 5-hole. If you have an NHL caliber goaltender make a pretty basic save, that game continues on.
Yep.
I have no idea. I really didn't have I didn't hate Miska's night or anything. I wasn't like, oh my god, this guy's terrible. But it's obvious that he's just in over his head, and. Yeah. That last goal, it
was soft.
It's an open look, and it still isn't a quality goal.
Yeah,
it's not a great shot. It was just ugly. I don't get it.
Every shot is an adventure right now with him. Yeah. It's kind of like I haven't watched him with the Eagles. I don't know what he's like up there, but.
That's what it's like, man. He's an athletic adventure.
The puck hits him, and then it's just like it just appears like a foot away from him, laying on the ice, and it's like, what? How did that happen? And then he's just flopping all over the place.
In the second period, where it's just laying in front of him, and you just want to scream at him to grab it because it's like right in front of him, and it's just It's just all out mayhem.
I mean, that play happened like 5 times tonight where the puck is just sitting like 2 feet in front of him and he can't find it or fish it out. And he got away with it like 3 or 4 times, and one time it cost him.
Yeah, I hate to harp on this, but this is exactly what we talked about at the start of the year. When 15 decent goaltenders, like third option for goaltenders, went on waivers in a 48-hour span, they didn't do anything about it. They rolled the dice, and then Francouz got hurt before they could ever get their actual tandem up and going. And they've been lucky that one, Grubauer's been great, and that two, they've only had the 2 back-to-backs. Now, Misko's lost both of those games.
Yep.
Even if you don't have very high expectations for him, like they lost a very winnable game. I mean, we talk about Colorado's injuries, but that Minnesota lineup, half of that lineup was AHL players tonight. And that's not like Minnesota's terrible dig. They had a lot of guys they had a lot of important guys that they were missing too, and the Avs didn't take advantage of that. And part of that is having a goaltender in net that's just not. I don't. He was fine in the LA game. I didn't have any problems. But this is you gave a point away tonight in part because he's just not very good, and because you tried to get cute. You tried to cut the third goaltender corner, and then Francouz got hurt right away. And
it's one of those things where, look, on the whole, is Miska the reason they lost this game? No, I don't think so. Even if he did, you probably put the overtime goal on him. The other ones, maybe he could have done something, but the problem with having a goaltender in over his head behind your defense is it magnifies the errors by a ton. When you see a Ryan Graves turnover, when you see the Avs get beat up the ice, when Makar goes in for a pinch and Landeskog turns the puck over immediately and it's a fast break the other way, it just punishes the Avs so hard in a way that when Grubauer's back there, the Avs aren't worried about that mistake nearly as much.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure you guys already talked about this cap thing, but it doesn't. I'm not a salary cap person, but Frankie's at this point. We got to be approaching.
I don't understand
why is he not on this
on LTI? He's been out for 14 days anyway.
He's on IR, so it's fine.
Yeah,
and the reason, as far as I've investigated, the reason that they don't want to put anyone in and use that LTIR cap space is because that means they stop getting the daily cap increases.
Right.
And does 10K a day really crush the Avs if they don't get that for a few days? I don't know. But
they've been playing these little games every off day because they're up against it. So the reality of them, they want to continue to get away with this. And it's fine. I don't have any real issues here.
I did want to ask. Well, let's go to Coach's Corner with Blaze over here. You're coaching the Avs tonight. We'll keep it brief because we don't like to hate on the refs too much on this podcast. But what are you yelling at the referees when Minnesota is just allowed to slide on the ice and run into Avs players and it not be trips? I don't know.
Well, you saw Bednar come down and start talking to the refs, right? Trying to get some type of explanation going on. Because when you're looking at that, you're like, hey, both teams are guilty out here of things going on. Why are you only calling it one way right now? Obviously, that slide was awful. That's a straight up trip with nothing on it.
Yep.
So, that's brutal.
Well, it happens in the final 2 minutes. Even if they don't score, they start overtime in the 4-on-3.
Yeah.
And it's just totally, it's just different. So.
Yeah, that was, and then the other part too is like, did you see Preezy tackle Miska?
Yeah.
I know Bo had taken the penalty there, but at the same time, like that's goalie interference all day long as
Well,
well.
I'm like, Miska's like a solid foot in front of his crease. And Parise's laying on top of him, and he's got his hands up, like he's like, I swear, officer, it wasn't me tackling this man. You're like, what is this, a citizen's arrest? What the hell is happening here?
Yeah, it's just a typical game where you don't know what a penalty is. Like that Kadri coming down the wing and Sutter wrapped him up and nothing's called. It's like I don't know what gets called.
Twice.
Ryan Sutter
then they dragged him down, and it was like, what the
nobody gets more leniency from the refs than Ryan Suter, is what I found. Like he gets away with so much interference, just he has over the years. It just is what it is.
He must be a super nice guy to the refs.
Yeah. Well, he's always on the ice, so he's just talking to them all the time. So, yeah.
Not to say that the officiating really played a major role.
Yeah, and
because
Avs
it just
100% found their way to lose this game for sure.
Yeah.
first power play unit has struggled the last 4 or 5 periods. It's been the second unit that's getting all their chances.
Yeah, it really has been as of late. Let's look at the positives then, because we've been in a negative hole for a minute here. We talked about Makar. Brandon Saad continues to roll. Where else are you digging to find positives tonight?
Logan O'Connor. I mean, he looks great.
Yeah.
fair.
He really has stepped right back in the way he did in the playoffs, and it must be telling that they dropped Sherwood down and not him. I don't know what cap ramifications that had, but he looks great.
Yep, no argument. The NHLer of the two, I think you go with Logan O'Connor, and I mean, we'll see what happens now with MacKinnon potentially out. But
What'd you guys think of McDonald? It seemed like I only noticed him because he just shot the puck every time it came to him.
and he shot it like 15 feet wide.
Yeah,
I had no opinion whatsoever.
yeah.
I saw his jersey out there once. Yeah. Makar looked good. He was +2 out there tonight.
I mean, Makar dominated, and
Yeah.
which is why I just don't understand. How do you was he tired at the end of regulation? Like, what the hell? Why is Gerard on the ice at the start of overtime?
I don't even think he knew, because he was sitting on the boards like ready to go, and then all of a sudden, like at the end of it, you saw him climb over the boards, and I was like, Gerard jumps over.
Why not run both? Run Kadri face off 2D. Like,
That would have been fun.
That's what they did the other game.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, from the start of this game, though, it was scary, right? Like, if you guys watched, like, the passing was off. Like, there was just a lot of crap going on that just wasn't going our way. Like, we couldn't connect at all throughout all 3 periods.
And the times where they did connect, Burakovsky legitimately completely fans on a tap-in goal.
Oh, there was 2 of those, right? MacKinnon got robbed.
MacKinnon got straight up robbed on a puck that he kind of double clutched. If he just gets the shot off, it's in the net. Gerard misses a redirect tap in off of a great pass from Burakovsky. And then late in the game, Logan O'Connor misses a basically open net as well. Yeah, 2 of those go in, and the Avs cruise to a victory.
Yeah.
Like,
They didn't, though.
they didn't.
And they got themselves into one of these gritty games, and it's, when they lost MacKinnon, it was like, okay, we've got to. They had to hunker down, and I thought when they lost MacKinnon, getting a point was a victory. Before that, I would have felt iffy about getting about what happened. Like, had MacKinnon played the entire third period, and then they lost in overtime, I'd feel a lot worse about the outcome. But losing MacKinnon, I mean, that's the engine of your whole team.
If you don't watch this game and you say the Avs get 1 point out of it, and it's 3 out of 4 on the back-to-back, you take it every time. But the reality is the Avs had a lead with 13 minutes left in this hockey game. and they lost. And yeah, not having MacKinnon definitely doesn't help, but you got to close. So we can take our second period break on that note, as we are sponsored by Green Mountain Dental Group, just 15 minutes from downtown Denver over in Lakewood. When you sign up for a cleaning, x-ray, and exam, they'll hook you up with a free Sonicare toothbrush. Jump on it. A bunch of us have gone there from DNVR, and it's been a great experience every single time. They're super helpful and will remind you of when you have upcoming dates with them and all of that. And the electric toothbrush is super nice as well. All right. So, third period of this DNVR Avalanche podcast. Mixed emotions about this game, right? Because if the Avs turn around, they get a little bit healthier at home against Minnesota, they get another win, you can throw this game out. But if they end up struggling through the rest of this series, whether it be because MacKinnon's out or whatever, starts to feel worse and worse depending on how the next couple of games go. So what I don't even know what to ask, because I want us to ask you guys what adjustments need to be made, but we can't answer that question without knowing what the Avs can do.
Well, and not knowing what the roster looks like.
Yeah.
Because if they don't have Nathan MacKinnon, they don't have Devon Taves in 2 days, then your approach is really different. If they have both of those guys, you roll out there and you have every reason in the world to smoke that dude, to smoke Minnesota.
Yep.
Like, you just have the talent to do it.
On paper, no doubt about it. And we, let's be real, even with simply Nathan MacKinnon in the lineup, who, by the way, had an assist tonight. Did he have two? Yeah, he had two assists in this game before he got hurt. Like, Nathan MacKinnon did his part in the 2 periods that he played. The Avs are capable of blowing this team out pretty easily, as we saw a couple nights ago.
Last night.
Yeah, it's back to back. It's almost midnight. I don't know. I'm used to these podcasts being quite late. Sorry.
Yeah. 9 o'clock is early for us.
Yeah, this is like weirdly early.
Minnesota's not going to have Fiala on Tuesday. They're not going to have Dumba. They're still going to be the same poor team that they iced tonight. It's just a matter of the Avs just have to execute a lot better.
Yeah. Do you guys think that the second game of a back-to-back hurts the Avs more than it hurts Minnesota? Because we saw the Avs come out in the first period, and they were just outskating Minnesota pretty handily.
No, I don't think it hurts them.
Okay.
I think that Minnesota just found some legs.
Found legs and
yeah, I mean, we talk about this a lot, but that's another NHL team on the ice.
No doubt.
The outcomes aren't solely dictated by whatever the Avs do or don't do. There's another group of guys getting paid to play the game on the other side.
And the Avs are a very young team.
Tonight they did the work.
Yeah, it hurts a little bit when you can't even ice a full team to start the game on the back-to-back, but beyond that, the Avs, talent-wise, I mean, this game could have very easily been over in the first period. It should have been 3-0 at some point. So it just wasn't, and that's how hockey goes sometimes.
Okay. Yeah, we'll answer this question because everyone always talks about it. But do the Avs have soft players? Not talking crap. Does this team just get injured a lot? It's all right. AJ broke this down on Twitter, but
go tell Nathan MacKinnon he's soft.
Like, look at the injuries that have happened to this team. Belmar gets his knee exploded by another dude's knee.
Yeah, goes knee on knee.
Taves blocking a shot, not something that soft players do, just takes a puck to an ankle. Calvert
and he played the rest of the game.
Yeah, and he finished the game.
You know what happens though? There is you take your skate off and it just
swells to death. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Calvert dealing with concussions from being hit in the head too many times. EJ pretty clearly gotten concussed off of bouncing his head off of the ice. and even the other injuries, Francois and MacKinnon, we have no idea what happened.
We don't even know. I mean, Rudo, I imagine you did the same thing, but I went back through the entire second period and was like,
there is nothing of note that happened to MacKinnon.
He doesn't take any awkward hits. He doesn't react to anything. Nothing. It's almost like in that injury that he got in the LA game last year, where it was nothing.
Yep.
I'm not.
Rudo's just sitting at his computer screen. Enhance. Enhance.
Dude, I'm at a loss about it because, like, you go back and you look at the injuries. You know, Donkaway had the concussion problems last year when Lindgren ran in, and then that popped back up again in the postseason.
Yep.
And in that last Rangers game that Brendan Lemieux got suspended for.
Yep. For blindsiding him.
Yeah, and so he had that last year, and then, you know, Landy misses Game 7 last year because Makar's skate cuts him.
Freak thing.
And then, you know, Grubauer, a total non-contact injury, sidelines him for the entire postseason. Francouz ended up having to have surgery on his hip because of whatever had happened to him. I don't know, like, you know, you go back to Colin Wilson last year, who was in the middle of practice, felt something was wrong, got off the ice, and is now retired.
Yep.
Because his hip never responded properly to surgery. I have no idea what the Avs or the training staff can do differently. Going back, you know, Rantanen's injury last year in St. Louis when he toe picked and hurt himself. Like, what is this? What is the training staff supposed to do differently?
Yeah, like the training staff can't go play the hockey games for these guys. Like, I'm just not sure where. And let's not pretend like the Avs are a unique team in this season. We've seen in these past two games, Matt Dumba, there's a good chance, has something very wrong with one of his legs. And we saw Eric Sinek take a puck to the face and have to go to the quiet room for the rest of this game. So
that was brutal. From his own teammate too.
Yeah, I know. Not pretty, but there was an expected increase in injury this season, particularly early in the season, given the time off, given the immediate start to things. So I don't think it's that surprising.
The one thing I will say, just to be devil's advocate, is this goalie thing, because now we're going back, you know, Varley got hurt a lot here, and obviously he had injury troubles in Washington too, but now he's in New York and he doesn't get hurt. But it's also a position. I'm not a goalie. If I reach too far, I hurt myself because I'm old and I don't stretch. And goalies, like when Grubauer did the splits last night, it physically hurt me to watch that. So I would just assume that because they're doing that to their bodies, that stuff's going to happen. But that's really the only thing. The other stuff is just, I mean, people get hurt playing hockey. It happens. Like, you can't really do anything about it. It's not like these guys are pulling their groin. Well, I guess we don't know about Mac, but, you know, it's not like these guys are pulling their groins in practice or on off days or doing training or something like that.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
That was kind of the conversation that I had on Twitter about this whole thing, was if they were pulling groins, if it was hamstring injuries, if it was more soft tissue injuries that were happening on a regular basis, I think you could have that. I think it would be a way more legitimate conversation, but it's just not those types of things.
Yeah. The one, obviously not the guy you want going out, but assuming this whole, I can't do math, so I don't understand the salary cap stuff, but I would have to assume they lost a center. They're down two centers now. You have to see Shane Bowers now, right? Like, if you can fill out this lineup.
Yeah, I mean,
if Mac is out,
if Mac actually is hurt and misses the next game, it's kind of Shane Bowers. If
you're not gonna play Shane Bowers at that point, you're never gonna play him, right? So, that's. I'm assuming this will not be a change, but people were clamoring for it in multiple locations. Is there any world where Adam Werner gets a chance with the squad, given that we have no idea how Francois is going to be out for?
I think after that performance, the answer should be yes. They might give Miska one more role next week against St. Louis in the back-to-back, But if he doesn't have a significantly better outing, it's got to be a short leash.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I almost want to say it doesn't even matter. Like, whoever they throw in, it's just Werner had the one miraculous game last year, and then the next game he got lit up. It's just like, every shot was terrifying tonight, and I would imagine that's kind of the same if Werner was in there. You're just hoping that you can get a win out of these games, and that's the unfortunate part of it all, is that they could have gotten maybe a better option than what they have right now.
Okay, let's move into our final thoughts here. The good news, the Avs are still tied at the top of the division. They are pretty darn comfortable when it comes to this division. MacKinnon or not, this team should make the playoffs, and with MacKinnon, they're competing for the top of the division.
When the top of the division is starting a little bit to separate.
Yep. You
already
have a pretty clear divider. Vegas, even with not having played due to COVID, at 11 points in fourth, and then Los Angeles at 8 in fifth.
Mm-hmm.
Ducks, Arizona, San Jose, just kind of trundling down. The gap is starting to open up, and Colorado has put themselves on the correct side of it.
Yeah. And if you're going to be missing Nathan MacKinnon for an extended period of time, you're probably not talking about winning the division anymore.
Yeah.
At that point, you're saying we'll make the playoffs and we'll be the team nobody wants to play. Because assuming he comes back in time, if he doesn't, then it's like, Colorado becomes a lot more intriguing to play against if there's no Nathan MacKinnon. But we have no idea the extent. The guy could be back in 2 days. So
yeah,
this is tune in to tomorrow's podcast to hear us talk about how we still have no news on Nathan MacKinnon.
Yeah, I bet tomorrow's probably a day off, I would assume.
Yeah. Traveling back to back, they won't be on the ice tomorrow.
And then you can tune in Tuesday's post-game show, and we still won't know anything about Nathan MacKinnon at that point.
I mean, morning skate on Tuesday, we better get some sort of we'll probably get. He's day-to-day. What do you guys want from me? As he acts like he tries to play totally innocent and be like, oh, what am I supposed to tell you?
Let's just hope he's on the ice and plays on Tuesday.
Yeah.
We've got 2 more games against the Wild here, right?
Whatever the Avs tried to do tonight, if MacKinnon and no one else is good to go on Tuesday, they have to use LTIR at that point. There's no choice anymore.
It looks like we don't play well against Subway. It's just not good for us.
Didn't eat fresh enough. Darn.
No.
Those jerseys really are ugly as shit.
They're nasty.
Not good.
It's not even the right franchise. That's what bothers me.
Yeah. This is I watched the Minnesota broadcast, and all game long they were, this is so amazing. We've waited so long for this. And it's like, that's Dallas's history.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to commit to that, then go to the league in Dallas and be like, hey, give us permission to actually wear the North Stars logo.
Well, it would be like if the Avs rolled out and were like, Colorado Rockies history. That's the Devil's history.
Yep.
This is just weird and awkward for everybody involved. Stop.
What was with, you could hear it on TV. AJ went to that first Avs game where the crowd noise was just too loud. But, you could hear the crowd noise, just humming through the game when nothing was happening. I was like,
it was
what is
bad.
Why is this happening?
It was bad.
The state of hockey.
I think it's still just an adjustment for all of these arenas that are trying to figure out how they want to handle it. I'm surprised that piping in fake noise is still the response. I don't think there's anything wrong with it being a quiet arena.
I think the television product is legitimately better if they have none. The on-ice sounds are significantly more interesting to the game.
Yeah, it's cool when you can hear the guys communicating. I mean, you're going to hear a few F-bomb drops and things of that nature, but it's awesome to just listen to how they're talking to each other out there. It's one of the things you miss.
Yep, exactly. And don't get me wrong, I also miss the entire arena going absolutely bananas when Cale Makar destroys a human being, but take advantage of the situation you're in a little bit. Do something different.
The funny thing about that goal is that Greenway didn't even he recovered relatively quickly, but it didn't even matter because Makar was just gone. That's how quick he is.
Yeah.
Like Greenway's a good defensive forward too.
Yeah.
He just got dusted.
Makar's just sturdy. It's not fair.
And that shot. Whew.
Yeah.
The one that got me was the penalty he drew in the third period where he picked off the pass, skated in, got hooked, and then he's just like stick handling in between everybody. And I was just like, oh my goodness. He was on another level tonight. He frustrated me in that first period when he passed it to Landy instead of shot it on the right before Minnesota came back and scored.
Mm-hmm.
But then beyond that, he was just a monster.
Yeah. All of us watch his skating ability every single night, and it still doesn't cease to just blow you away when he does something. It's that type of special. So
yeah, it's a thing that it just jumps off the ice. It's just different.
Oh,
yep.
Mohawk Makar tonight.
Yeah. You see that shot of him with like both of his legs straight up pointed different directions. I used to be flexible, not anymore.
That's hard to do.
Yeah.
The only other guy in the NHL that you see who skates like that on a regular basis is Sidney Crosby. He does that stuff all the time.
No.
Oh yeah, Doug Waite used to be big into that. I remember back in the day. That was the Doug Waite thing. But now it's Crosby and Makar, and it hurts my hips to watch.
So, I guess the play is when we know, you'll know. When it comes to the Avs injuries,
and we probably won't know.
We probably won't know until Tuesday morning. While there are things to be frustrated with in this game, ultimately, you got to be fine with where the Avs sit right now.
Yeah, this is like the exact opposite tone of podcast from the one we had 24 hours ago.
Yeah.
But they pulled 3 of 4 points on the road, and they're 1 point away from guaranteeing breaking even in this series, no matter what. It's really hard to feel results wise. It's hard to feel too bad about anything. Obviously, the MacKinnon injury hangs over everything else because all these other guys, I know that they're stacking up, but like Calvert and Belmar and even EJ, Francouz, you can replace these guys.
If we're being honest about it, they've lost 2 fourth-line players, a bottom pairing defenseman, and their backup goaltender. And then Taves hurts a little bit.
The Taves injury is in between MacKinnon and the other guys. It hurts, but it's not, oh my God, we can't survive without this guy.
Right.
Exactly. That's a meaningful loss, but it sounds like we're leaning towards that not being that bad. So it's just the MacKinnon injury. As we've seen, the fourth line lost Belmar and Calvert and immediately got better.
Yeah. The last 2 games have been the best 2 from the fourth line of the season. So
I really hope Taves is back Tuesday. Otherwise, Bednar even giving us the slightest hint of what he knows is never going to happen again. If he's actually out long term after he says, no news is probably good news, then we're never going to get – he's just going to be like, yeah, these guys are out. I have no other words to say.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
We just need the gambling world to change the NHL's code of...
Yeah, need gambling laws to put in place so they can get their lines correct.
So that we can just get some accurate information about what the hell is going on.
I mean, if it's a foot thing, right? If it's a bone, if something broke, he's going on IR, right?
And they would know that. It's been 3 days?
There's no way they don't know what's wrong with him at this point.
Right. They would know what's wrong with Devon Taves if something was broken. If it's a bone bruise and it's or it's a sprain of some kind, and it's one of those, it's truly day to day where you wake up and you're like, well, it feels a little bit better, but if you gave me another day, it would be a lot better. And you go from there, you test it out and do different things. Okay, fine.
All right. I think we've talked this one out for the most part.
Yeah, we still have to figure out something to talk about tomorrow afternoon. So
yeah, we can talk about the NWHL or something. We'll figure it out.
that's true.
Either way, we appreciate all y'all hanging out with us, talking it out tonight. Check out a little feisty, but it wasn't too crazy. You guys weren't popping off too bad, but be good.
Yeah,
to
after the
remember
Gabe
that.
Landeskog is a bad NHL player, things chilled out quite a bit.
That's because that was me. That's because I joined. I can't chat anymore.
Yeah. Well, and then again, Rudo's burner was in here, or it was Rudo's mom was in here,
Was
trying
she?
to make
She probably
the
was.
case that Rudo needs to go solo.
Oh no, that was just your boys. That was the birthday boy, Zach Talbot.
That's your groupie.
He's all our groupies.
You need
He
to
was-
ditch those losers.
The
Start
Justin
your
Timberlake.
band. Yeah.
What he doesn't know is I was solo until I joined DNVR.
Yeah, like where was he? Where were you, Zach Talbot, when Rudo was a one-man show?
So anyway, appreciate all y'all guys. Avs can't win them all. They're still in a fine position, assuming Nathan MacKinnon isn't completely broken. So keep your diamond hands for Nathan MacKinnon. Hold until 1,000. We're out of here. We'll be back Monday with something. I don't know.
That's tomorrow.
1 p.m. Be there or be square, I guess. We'll talk to all y'all guys later. Hey, like and subscribe to the video if you're still here.